My Caribbean people, today we have witnessed one of the greatest dodges in the history of question answering by the Caribbean Examination Council. It was described by me as a colossal waste of time. It was purely ignorance, and I'm here to recap what happened today. So, for persons who are now joining me, I am Jamain Hatton. I teach English A, English B, and Integrated Science at the Cxc level. And like many people, I have this YouTube channel here, which I try to help people across the Caribbean as much as possible in the Cxc syllabus. In 2020, we've had a pandemic, and that pandemic caused Cxc to not cancel their exams, but to push back their exams and then come with a modified approach of those exams. Despite all teachers saying that we should not do a modified exam, Cxc thinks it was okay to do it, and they went ahead against the consultations of teachers, students, and parents. And here we are today. We have seen a huge number of protests in almost every part of the Caribbean. Guyana had its fair share, Jamaica had theirs, Barbados had theirs. The students are obviously aggrieved, the students are obviously affected, and what we have witnessed today, I have not looked at any other press conference. I've looked at this one since the whole fiasco. And this one was a pure disrespect to all stakeholders. Absolutely disrespectful. And I have no apologies to say or to give for saying that. So the event, the virtual press conference, was hosted by Professor Sir Hilary Beckles. And the professor started with a brilliant analogy where he go on to say that in a building that has 10 stories, and if Cxc happens to be on the top story and the plumbing is wrong or the plumbing is badly done, obviously the entire building will be affected. Mr. Beckles started, Sir, the Honorable Professor Hilary Beckles, mentioned that to basically shift the blame from Cxc to teachers and to students. The same hard-working teachers across the Caribbean that year after year mark and correct the Cxc SBAs for free. Ignoring the fact completely that Cxc is with blame. Nobody seems to want to buy into that argument that Cxc is responsible for this mess. Nobody wants to buy into that argument. And now we are hearing, anyway, let's take it by step. I'll talk about that in a bit. So, the chairman of Cxc, Sir Hilary Beckles, talked about how Cxc is dubbed or should be dubbed a hero for not throwing in the towel and not surrendering in the face of a pandemic. Wow. Good job, Cxc. Good job. I don't know what else to say. Of course, you took the students' money, so you had no other choice than to try to save your face and give an exam. Because you didn't want to give a refund of those monies, right? So, I don't know what are we really applauding Cxc for. The same time, Cxc would have administered those watered down paper 1 exams They should have administered paper 2 exams, but nobody wants to have that kind of argument. And if we had had those paper 2 exams, we wouldn't have been in this predicament we're in at this point. So let me put this into context for persons who don't already know. The Caribbean Examination Council, as a result of the pandemic, COVID-19 in 2020, instead of doing paper 1, paper 2, and paper 3, or paper 3-2, which is your SBA, offered to do just the paper 1 and SBA moderation. Now, Cxc claims that they would have collected all SBAs from all schools across all Caribbean nations. And they would have remoderated, or they would have moderated or remarked all of those SBAs. That, I strongly believe, is a lie. For Cxc to remark every SBA, they must have done a lot of hiring to mark those 100,000 plus SBAs per subject. But again, no clarity at all is given on that. And we are in a mess here today. So what did the registrar say? The registrars say that Cxc, instead of having students pay $30 for a review of their script, they will now pay $15. Instead of a due date of October 20-something, the new due date for application of those reviews will be November 6th. And the Cxc registrar also said that the review of those grades or those papers will either raise the student grade or leave it as is, but it will not decrease those grades. Cxc thinks that was a wonderful speech. Is the reduction of this fee from $30 to $15 an admission of guilt? Cxc really wants us to think that when we pay $15 without giving any sort of clarity as to what we're paying it for, that will appease us? I don't understand that. Now let me tell you something. This year, I was most confident about the crop of students I was sending up for Cxc, like many teachers across the Caribbean. And when you see a student, for example, in English A, which I teach, and English B, which I teach, gets a profile of A and a B, and get a grade 2 in English, or a profile of A, B, and get a grade 2 in English B, something is wrong. Something is definitely wrong. Now, don't give me the argument it can be a high A and a low B, or a low B and a low A. Don't give me that nonsense. Something is wrong. And Cxc did not address that. And Cxc went on to tell us that this year there was less than 1% of students who were complaining about bad grades. My goodness. The Honorable Sir Beckles wanted us to believe that less than 1% of students across the Caribbean is complaining about bad grades. Okay. But what I found very interesting is that Corwin Springer, we know Corwin is doing an excellent job here on YouTube with all subjects, particularly mathematics, made a statement which he says the educational potential of the Caribbean deserves so much more than ducking questions, sneering, and laughing. And Corwin made that statement immediately after a reporter asked a very important question about the transparency in this whole process. And Mr. Beckles laughed. Mr. Beckles laughed at Loop News Barbados. And I don't understand. Some people, I do it sometimes. I laugh when I'm uncomfortable. I laugh when I'm nervous. I don't know if it's a case where Sir Beckles was laughing because he was uncomfortable or he was trying to shy away from the truth of the situation. But the laugh was a show of disrespect. And I'm very, very disappointed. Very, very disappointed. I say personally, Cxc is a Ponzi scheme. I'm sorry. No apologies. There. Because I don't understand if we have such widespread increase in requests for a review. Why is Cxc so tight lipped about releasing students' raw score? Release the score. It's the people's exam. They did what they did. Release their score. Instead of throwing blames at teachers, release. Instead of throwing blames across the board, especially at teachers, release the scores. But we can't do that. Where does this leave us now? 10. Well, in 2021, it seems to be business as usual, from what I can see. They say their exam is going to continue as scheduled in January. They say that they're doing registration for those January exams. The friend from Loop Barbados, the reporter, asked very, very important question. Where are we going in terms of the exams for 2021 May, June? Mr. Beckles, Professor Beckles laughed at that question. And teachers really do not know. Teaching science online is difficult. I cannot see students' faces. I cannot ascertain whether they understand. I don't reach on a normal day teaching online the brightest of the students I have because they simply do not have access to the internet. What does this mean for the students who are writing exams in 2021? We don't know. All the registrar said is by month end in November, we will be able to tell you. Month end of November might be too late. Month end November to May next year is 5 months. Mind you, the students have been away from school for 2 terms and almost another. We need answers. And is this the same kind of quest for answers that cause us to be in this predicament we're in right now? We are in a very sad situation simply because Cxc did not listen. When teachers all across the board said we cannot do paper 1 in SBA, Cxc didn't listen. When we said that the timing was bad, well, many persons didn't say timing was bad, but some persons thought it was bad. Cxc didn't listen. But fundamentally, people say paper 1, the traditional paper 1, cannot work. Cxc didn't listen. If they're going to say in November, they will month end, they will say what the status is of the exam next year, and nobody is going to hear from them until November next year. November this year. Nobody's going to hear from them until November. What's going to happen for an entire month? Do teachers continue preparing the students? I don't know, guys. I really don't know. But it's very frustrating at this point. So the students who are affected, I beg you not to lose hope. I beg you not to lose hope. I wish that you would continue to work hard. I wish that this here would not affect your moving forward to university, whether tertiary or colleges or wherever you choose to go. I hope that it wouldn't be too much of a hindrance to your future. At this point, in summary, I do believe that today's virtual press conference held by Professor Sir Hilary Beckles was a colossal waste of time. Cxc said it will reduce its cost for a review to $15 and the due date to submit those claims would be November 6th. Cxc says that the review can either raise your grade or have it left the way it is, and it will not be decreased. That was confidently broadcasted. Where are we moving forward? I think 2021, based on what I've observed with Cxc, might very well be multiple choice exams and SBA again. I can smell it. I want to think that Cxc will give again paper 1 exams and CX and SBAs because Cxc does not listen. Are we going to now move away from Cxc exams and go back to GCE A levels alone instead of CAPE? What are we doing? I guess time will have to tell. Thank you for listening to me rant about Cxc and the injustices met out to students across the Caribbean in 2020. Until you hear from me next time, please remember or please take care of yourself. Please practice social distancing. Please practice frequent hand washing. Please practice mask wearing to prevent yourselves from contracting the deadly COVID-19. Good luck. Goodbye. God help Cxc. My Caribbean friends, today is the 18th day of October in the year 2020. Today, Cxc held a virtual press conference where they were supposed to tell us what the independent review team report on the administration of the July-August 2020 CSEC and CAPE exams came up with, or reported. So, like we should be aware, Cxc had hiccups in 2020, and a large number of students protested their grades. Teachers as well, principals as well, and other schools as well. And as a result of that, Cxc quickly called for an independent review team to do 2 weeks of review and come up with a report. And they held a dramatic press conference today on Sunday to present the findings of that report. Despite the fact that those findings were not given, they made some statements. And this quick video wishes to talk about those statements that were made by the Caribbean Examination Council. Let's go into this.